Hey everyone, it's Kevin Gilligan. Welcome to another episode of our Flamecast, where we feature and talk with great artists and creators who have been at FlameCon, who have attended FlameCon, who we'd love to be at FlameCon. And joining me is someone who is of no exception to all of those terms, of being at and coming to, and would love to have back. Please welcome Mike Curato.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Mike, for those who are not familiar with you and your work, tell us about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, I'm Mike Curato. I am an author and an illustrator of graphic novels and books for kids.
That's great.
Yeah.
One of those books has I really enjoyed and is youth focused, but not exclusively for youth. Is your book Flamer, which, as we can see on the book cover, has been honored with several honors. Um, uh, well, you can describe it best. I mean, I've read
Sure.
it, but um, it's
I
better
won't
from.
quiz you. It's fine. Yeah. Okay. So basically, Flamer is the story of Aiden Navarro, who is a 14-year-old Filipino white mixed kid who's away at scout camp in 1995, and he is dealing with navigating friendships and bullying. Um, he's grappling with questions about his religion and body dysmorphia and racism, and all that is the backdrop to Aiden um, discovering and accepting his sexual identity, you know, and there are fart jokes.
Well, of course,
So
it
yeah,
is.
you know,
It's set at camp,
it's camp.
so yeah. I was tempted. I couldn't find it. I was going to wear my Scout shirt that I
Yes.
have, my Boy Scout shirt, because there are a lot of memories. Reading this, I went to camp a lot.
Mm.
My mom worked for the YMCA, so I went to overnight camp during the summer, and just reading this and sort of the some of the parallels in terms of these feelings that you have, and just the awkwardness of being preteen, and being around other kids, and boys your age, and being overnight. It's
Hmm.
very um, it's very eye-opening, and I think you capture it very well in your
Thank you.
story. Um, so yeah, it's an interesting book. So, and I really appreciated it as an adult looking back, and I'm sure that kids uh, younger appreciate it for being seen. That
Mm.
they are not alone in their feelings. So
Right. I mean, the whole point of writing it is uh, for people to feel seen.
yeah.
Specifically queer youth who are feeling isolated and not feeling safe and in being able to be out. POC queer people who really feel alone and like a freak. That's where I was at when I was 14. I thought like, wow, I don't see anyone like me in the world, and I don't think I'm supposed to be here. And so um, that's what I was thinking when I wrote this, that this is for folks like me.
Yeah. And you also, as you said, you're an illustrator. One of the books that you have that you illustrated was Worm Loves Worm,
Yeah.
which I just learned about, but looking at some of the preview images on that are on your website about it, mikecurato.com/worm loves worm. It's on the screen. You can see there. Um, it's just very sweet, and you know, helps to um, sorry, words are failing me. Um, it helps to sort of underscore how queer relationships are part of everyday life, and helps to, especially for younger kids, is a great resource. For when uh, they have friends whose parents are of the same sex. It shows that families look different, but the love is still, the love is love, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, so, yeah, and the illustrations are just really sweet.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, and I have to give out a shout out to JJ Austrian who wrote the text, and yeah, I'm so lucky that I got to illustrate it. But yeah, that came out. It's been a few years now. I think it came out in mm, what is time anymore? I don't even
What is,
know. It's
honestly,
been
yeah,
it's been years, but it's still worming its way into people's hearts. So yeah, check it out.
yeah. And I think it's especially important to support these works, considering, uh, the current climate of the
Yes.
U.S. And I think it's important that everyone who is watching supports books and titles like these, and supports their inclusion at libraries and schools, because this is important. You know, um, banning of books is not what our world and our country is set up for. So, and it does not lead to good things. So,
Yeah, and unfortunately, those lists of banned and challenged books mostly feature queer and or POC characters and or authors and illustrators. Um, what can I say? I think the most upsetting thing about this is that these are decisions being made um, in the name of protecting the children when nothing could be further from the truth, where it's like, well, you know, for a child that's like me, I wouldn't feel protected or cared for. Instead, that sends a message, right? A coded message.
right.
And so um, that's the most infuriating part of all of this for me, is that I created this book to um, make a space, a safe space for people, and it's being denied. Um, so yes,
Which is very
please,
tragic, and
yeah,
everyone really should support all of these books that are on these lists, and stand up if these books are being challenged in your town. So,
yes, absolutely. Like, take it upon yourself to check in and see where your community is at with the book bans. Yeah.
yeah. Um, I wanted to, it was something we touched on a little bit back, and I wanted to check in with you in terms of, like, what inspires you with your work? Like, who is there, like, who or what inspires you, I should say?
You know, the gays, the queers. I love our people. I'm constantly inspired by all the amazing things that queer people have put into the world, despite all of the obstacles and BS that has been handed to us. So there's this kind of inspirational resilience that I really um, tap into when I'm doing anything, really. I mean, if I'm working on a book, if I'm like baking a cake, I don't know, if I'm just like trying to look fierce for the day, it's just like, well, um, to think of my predecessors and everything they've been through. So that's always an inspiration. I'm into film. I'm a big film geek, and I have to say, last night I saw everything everywhere all at once, and my mind has been blown and like sucked into that bagel. Like I am, so I'm like still, I'm still reliving the movie in multiple dimensions in space and time. Like I cannot stop watching us right now and go watch that movie. Like wow, wow. Um, so yes, film. Uh, Comics, obviously, duh. Why else are we all gathered? Um, I love graphic novels so much. I mean, if you've read Flamer, uh, you will know that I am a huge X-Men fan. So that's what I was raised on. And then when I got older, I was just like reading graphic novels nonstop and just knew that I wanted to make my own one day. And here we are. Um, Other things that inspire me, I have a giant sweet tooth, this unsatiable, insatiable sweet tooth. So I want I want like sexy cakes and like ice cream with like correct textures and interesting flavor combinations. Pastries like um okay, there's this uh pastry chef in Paris. I'm just throwing this out there, universe. Is he queer? I don't know, but I want to marry him. Like his name is Cedric. I don't know. My French is terrible. He's on Instagram, and just like watching these videos, like, oh, whoa. I mean, wow, X-rated like pastry situation.
Get a little hot and bothered.
I mean, yeah, all
Some
of the
hot cross
feels.
buns.
He can. Okay, I'm not sure like what rating system we're working with here.
Sure.
I was going to start going to a place, but yes, very that. Um, and I'd have to say travel is really inspirational, which is why COVID's been such a major B because I
Yeah.
haven't done a lot of it. But I just went on like a legit vacation and went to visit friends who moved to Mexico, and like I feel reborn. I'm just like, oh my God, like the sun and like not being in the US for a minute and like the food and the ocean and
It's funny how
yeah.
restorative that can be.
Yeah.
Um, well, I mean, speaking of that, like who is part of your community? Like where have you met them? How do you connect with them?
Yeah. I feel lucky to be a part of like several different communities. Let's see, I've got my like local gay community that I feel like very much a part of. It's interesting. I feel like I belong to these like two camps. I'm in Northampton, Mass, for those who don't know, and so I've got like my like queer community that I feel very at home within, and then I have like a another very specifically like gay cis male community, and I kind of get a lot of things from both of them. So yeah, and we've really, I feel like especially during the pandemic, like really shown up for each other, and so I feel very like uh, very much like I found my local family here. Um, and then another like gay community that I feel or queer community that I feel connection with is um, a place called Camp 10 Trees, which is based in the Seattle area. I used to live in Seattle for like 10 years. Camp 10 Trees is a wonderful organization. They um, have a summer camp for queer identified and allied youth and also kids from like alternative homes, alternative families. And it's just, there's just a lot of love there. And I haven't been able to go for years, but I have a deep connection with so many people that I met through that program, and I'm still very, very tight with them. Um, and then I have my like Kidlit, my children's literature community of writers and illustrators. And I met them when I moved to New York City. And it was amazing, like having these friendships because it was kind of like fulfilling um, this need that I didn't realize I had. Like I felt really seen in a way that I hadn't been before, and I can just like nerd out with them, right? Like we can just like talk shop, and for years so many people will be like, aren't really, children's books, they're cool, but
Yeah.
I can't really talk about like, oh, these end papers, like so yeah, they're like a really lovable, nerdy group of people. So definitely have a lot of community there. Um, and then also kind of on the same note are like my art school people where it's like those are my ride or die, like, folks where we all shared a studio space together throughout college. And we're working in different parts of the art field, but like that's like art fam, so
That's
yeah.
awesome. Well, I wanted to wrap things up, just sort of check in and engage with everyone.
Yeah.
What are you getting down and nerdy with? What are you
Mm,
consuming in pop culture? Because we talked about everything everywhere all at once, which I am
yes.
obsessed with.
My
Um,
God.
but what other shows, movies, games, books? What are you
Hmm.
consuming?
Okay, I'm currently reading YA novel called Red, White, and Royal Blue, which like I'm obsessed with. Oh my gosh, and I'm totally blanking on the author's name. Embarrassing. Um, it's something
It's
Casey McQuinton.
Kristen, I think. I don't know if the S is.
McQuiston, yes, Casey McQuiston,
Yeah.
yes. So it's the first book of theirs that I've read, and I am loving it. And basically, it's like the first son, so the president's son of the U.S. falls for the like a prince of England, and I'm like, oh honey, this is so good. Anyway, so
How very Princess Diaries.
I mean, finally, right? And I love Princess Diaries, so I'm like, ah. Um, okay, so there's that. I haven't finished it yet, so hopefully in the next few days. What else? Uh, I was just sick last week, so watched like a ton of TV and caught up on a bunch of stuff. So I binge watched Inventing Anna.
Yes.
So now I'm not so basic, or my pop culture is not so poor. So getting all those references. And I'm a huge Drag Race fan. I'm just very that queen, like who has to watch US, all the internationals, like so I'm all caught up. Um, yeah, and I'm loving it all. New season of España is
Yeah.
up, and like they are fierce. Like they're bringing it. Like yes. Um, and I love listening to The Bald and the Beautiful with Trixie and Katya, mostly on my dog walks, or like while I'm working. It's like nice because it's like I've got queens just kikiing while I'm getting
Right.
things done, and I'm just like, and Ben de la Creme is coming to my town this month, which is very exciting. So I'll see her perform. Um, yeah, so yeah, a lot of my pop culture is it's very drag driven. Oh my God! And when I was in Mexico, I went to my first live drag show in like 10 million years, and I saw Sherry Vine and Jackie Beat, and it was so funny. Like, yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
body cracked sideways, like laughing.
That's great.
Yeah, she took the cure. Yeah, it was good.
That's great. Well, I want to thank you for chatting with us today. If you would like to learn more about Mike, you can go to his website, Mike Curato, Curato.com. If you want to find out more and get your copy of Flamer, it is his website /Flamer. For Worm Loves Worm, it's his website /worm-loves-worm. And you can find Mike on Twitter at Mike Curato as well. And anything else you would like to plug or mention before we head out?
Well, I will say I'm on Instagram a lot more than Twitter, so also I'm on there at Mike_Curato. Oh, there we go. All right, thank you.
I didn't scroll down. I was like, oh right, there's more. But
But wait, there's more.
Interestingly enough, you're on TikTok as well.
I'm on the TikTok. Yes.
Yeah.
I've got talk time. I'm trying. I'm older than I look, so it's all very confusing to me.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to make those TikToks just 1 calorie.
It's
Yeah.
so light and refreshing.
That's right.
Well, you can catch more about FlameCon. You can go to flamecon.org to get your tickets now. And program submissions will close at the end of April. If you listen to our podcast, you can hear this episode first before it actually premieres on YouTube. But I do encourage you to watch the videos because then you'll get the lovely visuals, because podcasts are not a visual medium. So, so yes, and we'll be premiering more episodes as soon as we can. So, well, until next time, we're out.